Hi learners, welcome back to my YouTube channel Psychology Globe. I am Simran and I hope you all are doing well. So as promised, today we are going to discuss the types of stress and the effects that stress can have on the health of human body. So let's begin the discussion. So the first type of stress is physiological stress. Physiological stress is the one that occurs due to changes in our body, and the source of this stress are mostly our unhealthy habits. For example, the lack of proper sleep, lack of proper diet, and the overexertion by exercise. For example, if I am overexerting my body due to exercise, then the very immediate effect of that overexertion will be that I'll feel fatigue, I'll feel tired throughout the day, and as a result of this, I'll not be able to function efficiently, I'll not be able to complete my work on time, which will ultimately become the source of stress. The second kind of stress is environmental stress. Environmental stress is the one which occurs due to certain unhealthy elements that are present in our surroundings. For example, excessive pollution, excessive noise. These things can disturb our mind. For example, if there is a lot of pollution around me, then I'll not be able to breathe properly. There can be irritation in my eyes, irritation in my nose and throat. All this will prevent me to from functioning efficiently. The third kind of stress, and the most common one, is psychological stress. Psychological stress is the stress which is generated in our minds, and it is the most difficult to be cured, the most difficult to be addressed. Why? Because it is very subjective. It differs greatly from person to person. For example, the effects of pollution, which we have talked about in environmental stress, they are going to be more or less the same for every individual. But when we talk about psychological stress, it greatly depends on our experiences, our own personality, our own coping abilities. And the subtypes of psychological stress are frustration. Now, frustration occurs when our motives and goals, they are blocked by something. Now, whether those motives are good or bad, that is a different thing. But whenever something restricts us from doing something that we really want to do, then that becomes a source of frustration in our minds. For example, if I wish to go abroad, but I don't have sufficient finances, then that will become a source of frustration. The second subtype is conflict. Now, conflict occurs when we have to choose between two things that we want at the same time. For example, if I'm very heavily interested in two subjects and I feel that my interest for both the subjects is quite same and I have to choose only one, then that can become a source of conflict. The third subtype is internal pressure. Internal pressure refers to the unrealistic expectations that human beings set for themselves. For example, if I say that I have to top the class every time, so this is an unrealistic expectation which can become a source of stress if I am not able to handle it properly. The last is social pressure. So social pressure refers to the unrealistic expectations that the society sets for ourselves, and social pressure, it is difficult to deal as compared to internal pressure because the source is other people, the thoughts of other people. It is quite easy to reflect on your own thoughts, to control your own thoughts as compared to the thoughts of other people. The fourth type of stress is social stress. Now, social stress is the one that can result from the interaction, that can result from our relationship with other people. It is different from social pressure because there are no expectations involved. For example, if a person is going through a traumatic period due to the death of a closed one, then that person is experiencing social stress. So now let's discuss the effects of stress. The very first effects are the emotional effects. These are the ones that occur in a major proportion. Whenever someone is going through a stressful period, they've become very vulnerable. There are a lot of mood swings, and mood swings, they make a person's behavior sort of unmanageable for other people, and this pushes a person into a low confidence zone where they lose their self-esteem. The second effects that we are going to discuss is physiological effects. Physiological effects are the ones which occur in our body. Whenever we are undergoing stress periods, then there are a lot of hormonal changes that occur in our body. Hormones such as adrenaline and epinephrine, they are released in large quantities, and this disturbs our metabolism. We might experience difficulty in digestion, and there are changes in blood pressure levels. And the third kind of effects are cognitive effects. Cognitive effects are the ones which are related to our mental functioning, our mental cognition. A person who is under stress, they might not be able to make sound decisions. They might become very erratic. And the fourth kind of effects are the behavioral effects. So there are a lot of changes in our daily habits, and a person might also start to adopt unhealthy habits such as the intake of drugs and cocaine in order to prevent stress. So this was all about the types of stress and the effects of stress. In the next video, I'll be discussing certain coping strategies, and I'll also be discussing certain life skills that can be built in order to prevent stress. Till then, goodbye, take care.